Sasquatch, Ghost, Dogman, aliens, demons, shadow people, skinwalkers, even the Fae. Our universe is vast, dark, and wrought with infinite unexplained phenomena. We have tasked ourselves with assisting humanity in finding the keys to unlock the mysteries that abound in and around our world. What we intend to reveal behind the curtain of darkness may very well invoke those fears long tucked away in our memories. We will meet that fear head on as we strive to shine the light of understanding on these phenomena. The goal is to arm you with the power of knowledge to confront and even combat these entities. We welcome you to join us on our quest. We are Midwest Night Watchers.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to Piercing the Veil. Tonight we have a special guest, Jessica, the Cryptid Huntress. And we're going to get into some cryptid stuff and some spooky, and I don't know, who knows what we'll go to.
All kinds of woo.
So we'll bring Jessica up, help us welcome her, and everybody in chat, be nice tonight, and we'll get going. Hi, Jessica.
Hey,
Hi,
y'all.
Jessica. Hi.
Hey. Thank y'all for having me tonight. This is going to be fun.
Yeah,
This is going to be fun. Yeah.
Of course. I wouldn't miss this for anything. I love y'all.
Oh, we love you.
Well, thank you for having us on your show. I mean, we were on your show 2 times, and now you're on our show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We just have a lot to talk about, y'all. We always have a lot to talk about. It's always interesting. And you guys have been so supportive of me from the beginning. Back on, I don't even know how long I've been seeing both of y'all in the chats and stuff from back in the day, even when I was doing my card readings and stuff like that. So it's been a while. So I do appreciate both of y'all. And it means a lot that we're still friends today. We're all friends.
Well, we love you.
I mean,
yes.
Thank you.
We just enjoy, I mean, not only do we enjoy you, but I mean, all the guests that you bring on are, you know, we just love all the topics that you bring up. You just cover a whole field of different, you know, subjects.
I do. Absolutely. I mean, okay, so us 3, we had the most controversial show I've ever had on my channel when we talked about flat Earth. Okay. Who'd have thunk it? I had no idea that was going to be so controversial. And we had, that was like a really good show that we did because we were talking about something I didn't know anything about. You guys were questioning it. We're all just questioning it. We're not going one way or another with like what's real and what's not. Is it round or flat? Right. We were just questioning it and kind of toying with the ideas of the different flat or, you know, globe. And so, and it stirred up a lot of comments. Let me tell y'all, it really did, especially all over social media. That was one of the more fun shows I've done in a while. So that was a good one.
Well, I got another one for you. I'm starting to dive down this rabbit hole about not only people changing their frequency and higher consciousness, but what if the Earth is going through a dimensional change and this is taking us along for the ride? Like
it totally
fleas
is.
on a dog.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all, it is. That's exactly what's happening, I think. I think that the Earth is changing its vibration, and we have to change our vibration with it because we're switching dimensions, in my opinion. I don't know for sure, but that's what I hear. If you follow Dolores Cannon's work and some of the speeches that she gave, she talks about how we are shifting into a new world, a new frequency, a new dimension, and we have to raise our vibration. I've got goosebumps all over my body.
Yes, right, same here.
Yes, because this is a message that we need to get out today, obviously.
Yeah.
But we need to raise our vibrational frequency to help the Earth raise its vibrational frequency as it shifts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, do you know anything about the Schumann resonance? Because this has been going crazy also.
Hasn't that gone nuts? And it's got the patterns in it. It looks beautiful. It's got patterns now, and it's not just the ups and downs. And you know, I don't know a lot about it. I do follow it, but I don't know a whole lot about it. But that's just basically the frequency that the earth is giving off.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
The energies and stuff. Yeah.
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 Hey, Sue.
Yeah, so that's an interesting concept, though, thinking about the whole Earth, a planet going through a dimension compared to everybody else normally thinks that you got to raise your own consciousness to get there, but the Earth could take us with it.
Oh my gosh. And I got to tell y'all, I just feel like when it's time when I personally, if I can spit it out, when I personally am raising my vibrational frequency and things are going really good for me, a lot of times, and I'm getting up there, I'm high vibing, man, it's like the darkness comes out of nowhere to try to pull you back down. And it really works really hard to pull you down, to prevent you from going higher. Okay. And so I think it's important that we all shield our energy right now and really work on ourselves from the inside out and to find that light inside of all of us and then shine that light out. Because there's a lot of darkness trying to hold that back and make sure you're not aware of your light and prevent you from shining that light and from raising your vibrational frequency. Okay.
It's a daily battle. We go through a spiritual warfare with the darkness and, the temptations. And yes, it wants to pull you down. And we just need to keep our protection strong and just focus on positive and just staying up there in the high vibration. Definitely.
That's right. We all deserve to be happy and to live a peaceful life, and that's all we need. Hey, Donnie. I love Donnie. What's up?
Hi, Donnie.
He's got a new channel too. Everybody go check Donnie's channel out.
Yeah, we've been going to watching the shows and stuff. I keep telling Donnie behind the scenes, and through Messenger and stuff, says, man, you need to go longer. Everybody's loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Great show. Yeah, welcome everybody in chat. We've got Scott and Maggie and Be Kind, Gary, Val, Donnie Joe. I hope I'm not missing anybody.
Shout out to everybody.
Jessica, here not too long ago, you made an investigation in Tennessee, right? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I would love to talk about that. Yeah, well, I am a field researcher. First and foremost, like I do these shows because I love doing shows and sharing what I know and just putting the information that I can out there, to people. But people don't know this about, not everybody knows this, but I'm out in the woods a lot, like a lot, way more now than I even used to be. And so it's like every other week where I'm somewhere, or sometimes every week. And about what was that, 2 or 3 weeks ago? I guess it was like 2 weeks ago. I met up with a team up in Tennessee. My friend Farah, my new friend Farah, she and her husband had just bought some property in northern Tennessee, and it's like center of Tennessee, and it's in the middle of nowhere, and it's 488 acres. I hope that I'm not frozen up right now, y'all. Am I frozen?
You spoke up a little bit, but that's all right. We could hear you.
Okay. Sorry, it just kind of happens sometimes. So there's 488 acres of property. Well, right where her cabin sits, where they live, there's a cave 30 feet from her back door. A huge cave. And so she was attracted to this cave and wanted to go check this cave out, but she was getting scared out of it every time she'd walk in it. And she thought, well, if there's anything in there, we better make nice now, because we're going to live here and it's going to be in my backyard. And so she would go in there, and she's very much into the paranormal. She has a podcast called The Conversation Cabin. Excellent. Y'all go check that out. She would go in there and put like EVP recorders in this cave, in the opening of the cave. She wouldn't go in there by herself. Something would, like, it felt dark. It would kind of run her out. Whatever was in there. Now, I got to tell you, this was a very historical Native American settlement land out there, and a lot of history out there, and beautiful, by the way, just beautiful, covered with mountains and lakes and everything.
Wow.
It's beautiful. But yeah, she was going in there, and she was picking up voices on these recorders and screams from outside the cave. And then at night, something was slapping the side of their house at night and hitting their house.
Oh,
And yeah, and then as she noticed that each time she would go into the cave and kind of say, "Hey, I'm here if anybody's out there," and she would do that. The next morning, her chickens would be missing. Okay.
oh,
She had pet chickens and beautiful chickens. And one night, she went in that cave. She came back out. One of her chickens was gone. There was nothing left but feathers. Okay. And then she went in the cave again a couple days later. 2 of her chickens were gone the next day. Now, okay, it would be more weird, or it wouldn't be more weird if the cage was closed and there was a footprint, like a Sasquatch footprint, okay, right by the chicken pen, and a stick had been stuck down inside the pen through the fencing, and it looked like something had been poking towards the chickens to get them to go to the other side of the cage. Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And all that was left were feathers, but there was no sign of blood. There was, one of her other chickens had gotten cut on its neck. So she knew that it had put up a fight with something. But there was no carnage, like nothing, just some feathers. And then there were feathers leading into the cave. Yeah, there were feathers.
Now, the one that got injured, wasn't that a rooster?
Yeah, I think so. That was a rooster. Okay. It was. So it was one that was fighting. It was fighting to protect the hens.
Yep.
Now, did she notice footprints around the chicken cage or anything, the coop?
That coop was right beside the entrance to that cave.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It was easy pickings, kind of. That's what we say down here in the South, y'all. It's easy pickings.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 chickens. They were terrified when we so she contacted me, and we'd already talked. I'd gone on her show already. We talked about doing an investigation at her house, and me and some of the guys from Cryptid Warfare podcast. I got Zook and Drewski, and some of their friends, some good friends of theirs. We decided to make it a trip and go up and do some investigation. There's a very famous story, well-known story of a local dog man up there, right down the road from her house. And one of the neighbors actually had left kind of overnight. He saw something in his backyard walking through the field, and it scared him, and he just moved. Okay. And
wow.
Lots of weird stuff. And Farrah had been getting video. She had cameras all around her house. The night that the last 2 chickens went missing, her camera had been facing the cave, and the chickens had been moved and tilted another direction.
Really?
Wow.
So there was something intelligent taking these things. Yeah.
Does she have any dogs?
No, only birds.
She has no dogs.
No dogs. That's what we asked too. We're like, Farrah, y'all don't have dogs. Everybody's got dogs.
What's our niece have? A Great Pyrenees? What do you call that?
Pyrenees.
Great Pyrenees.
Great. She has 2 of them that keep off coyotes and everything away from their goats and stuff. So,
wow.
I would suggest getting some kind of outside dog.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
Or either that or bring the chickens in the house.
Well, she did have chickens in her house, actually. She had chickens in her house.
I would. Yeah. I love my chickens. If they start disappearing, they'd be coming in the house.
Oh my gosh.
She had all the babies were in her house. Yeah, they were actually in a room in her house. She kept them out there for safety. But yeah, it was very upsetting to her. And so we were like, all right, well, we're coming out. And so we spent an entire weekend there. I ended up leaving like late Saturday evening to come back because I had another thing to do on Sunday, going to the Etowah Indian Mounds here in Georgia with some friends and my son, and checking out a dog man spot. Okay, so I had stuff to do, but we were out there. I guess I went early Friday, and then Friday night, and then Saturday night. Okay, and I left late Saturday night. But yeah, we went out and investigated. I got to tell y'all, that cave was a little ominous. Okay. I don't explore caves very well. I've never explored a cave for a cryptid investigation before. But those guys that were with us, they were pros at it. They were totally, we all protected ourselves, you know what I mean, and everything. And so we were prepared if something ran out at us. The problem is, which I forgot to mention this. So I had remote viewed the property to find out what all was there. And Farrah also had 3 mediums look at the property as well. Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
And
good.
what they saw corroborated what I had written down and given her with my remote viewing data. Okay.
Oh,
So
wow.
we
Awesome.
had, all 3 of us detected a shaman. Okay. A shaman, cursed land,
Mhm.
cursed land, Native American curses on this land. And I had like a plethora, as we like to say at Spaced Out Radio, I had a plethora of cryptids out there from, I picked up on mostly Bigfoot though. I picked up on, and this comes up in my data a lot, pods of Bigfoot families.
Mm.
So I never really heard it called a pod. That's like whales or dolphins, right?
Yeah,
So,
whale pods.
yeah. Okay. Well, that's what my data always it came up with, and so a bunch of Sasquatch family, and some of them were in the cave, but most of them were out on the 488 acres. So, but ET activity, I picked up on a lot of ET activity, and an underground facility
Oh,
underneath
my.
her house,
Interesting. Yeah.
which was not shocking to me.
Yeah, I was going
Wow.
to ask you when you brought up
Yeah.
Native American, I was going to
So,
ask you
yeah.
about shaman or skinwalkers or anything like that, since they like skinwalker store. I don't know if they like them, but they have them, you know.
Oh. Okay, so skinwalkers, here we go. So the mediums, they, the lady called Farah, one of the mediums, and she said, well, this was so, she was like, it was so overwhelming. She had 2 other friends look into it as well in this property. She's like, particularly the cave. She said the cave is full of skinwalkers and rakes. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And
Ooh,
yeah,
rakes.
I was like,
Ew.
rakes. Yeah. And she was like, it is dangerous. And the rakes will peel your skin off of you and all this. It was a little scary. It got real at that point for me, because I was like, ooh. So I honestly, I contacted William, you know, and I talked to him a little bit to give me some advice on what to do. And yeah, I'm going to keep that private, because that was an interesting conversation there, because I'd never dealt with this kind of stuff before, and so it's a spiritual type of a battle. Okay,
Yeah.
when it comes to skinwalkers, and it's something like you have to take great precaution when you're going to be anywhere around them, and I had never dealt with that before, so we were all kind of, I'm not going to say we were on edge when it came to that cave, but we were cautious. Very cautious. But yeah, so we were dealing with skinwalkers and dogmen and Bigfoot and aliens.
Wow.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I had the time of my life. It was so fun. Like, we really did end up having a good time. We tracked through as many acres as we could. Okay. And we covered all the cave entrances that we could find, and went in that cave. And the most activity that we got actually turned out to be paranormal activity. And that absolutely, and Farrah's still having some of that activity.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, it's just mostly around the cave. Okay. And, and so I took all my Bigfooting equipment, which is actually ghost hunting equipment, and like my REM pod and EVP recorders and K2 meters and whatever I have in my box. Okay. And so Farrah had some stuff, the parabolic mics and recorders and things like that too. And so we set up, like, while the guys were deep into the cave exploring, you know, I didn't want to do that. Y'all, when we walked in the cave, there was mud on the ground, and it was so thick that, and we were all in this one line walking. There was like a bunch of us, and not a ton, but there's probably like 8 of us, I think. We knew that if something came out the other side of that cave and started chasing us, we were in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. Because our feet were sticking into the mud, like our shoes were coming off our feet, because it was so
Was there
thick.
bats?
We didn't encounter any bats. We had some birds that were flying in there.
Wonder if
But,
they're so muddy.
It was very muddy. I don't know. I guess the drainage from outside.
Well,
when
that's
it
why I
rained.
thought maybe bats, because they leave all that bat poop, just they'll just do
Yeah,
inches
could
and
have
inches
been.
and feet of it.
Yeah, they did find some really strange things way deep into that cave, in some of the crevices, places where people had been holed up. No telling how long ago. Old wood that had been burned and things like that. Like somebody had built a fire way, way, way back in that cave.
Oh.
How old is her house? Is her house really old?
Yes, the house is vintage, as you
Okay.
would say.
All right.
Well, I was
Yeah,
just
the house,
wondering, you know,
it is.
like during the Civil War, or how far back the house went to experience, maybe the previous owners all experienced all this too, or maybe it's from
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, well, it was a little crazy because there were kids' toys sprinkled on the ground, like Legos and Nerf bullets
Oh,
and stuff at the entrance
In
of
the
the cave.
cave?
At the entrance of it, and it's a great place for kids to play as long as they're
Okay.
safe and somebody who's watching them. Not if they keep going in it now. And if there's anything in that cave, it's not safe. I would not go in there. I would never let my kids go in there at night ever by themselves. It's just I didn't even want to turn my back to it. I was like, I don't even want to turn my back to that cave because you just don't know what's going to come out. So
Yeah.
we actually did some dowsing sessions, like dowsing rods, and Farrah had her dowsing rods. And so we did like an EVP recording session, and while the guys were out doing their thing, she and I did our thing. And there were voices coming through our EVP recorders answering all the questions that we had. And the
Wow.
dowsing rods
Wow.
were giving us yes and no
Wow.
answers. They're just yes, a place like that with so much history is bound to have some spirits, I guess. So it was more spirit
Now,
activity.
how many
than
how many
anything.
entities came through your EVPs?
Well,
How
that's
many
funny you
different
asked because I
entities?
asked. Yeah, well, through the voice recorder, there were a couple at least, but I asked how many were
Wow.
there with us, and it clearly said 7.
Ooh.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
it said 7. So we also she had what we call an SLS camera where it will map out stick figures of bodies that come through
Mm. Yeah.
on
Right.
the screen.
Yeah,
And
I've seen those.
yeah, and we set the REM pod up. And the REM pod, you guys, if anybody's not familiar with the REM pod, it's like a round device with an antenna that sticks out of it with lights on it. And if anything gets close to it in that energetic field and hits that antenna, the lights will go off and it'll beep. Okay. And you can see them on Go shows a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we had a REM pod sitting out at the entrance of the cave, and Farrah was asking questions and stuff. And the REM pod started going off, and it was going off frantically, like a lot.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, that's not normal. And she was recording it, so you can hear me say, that's not normal. And she has her SLS camera out, and all of a sudden, through one of the holes on the side of the cave, a gigantic stick figure came like crawling out of this hole. And there were two little ones. One was crawling down in front of it, and the other one was on top of the REM pod, like dancing on it.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, and they hung out there for a while. It was weird. It was really weird.
Is there any known murders or anything that's associated with the property?
Not that she knew of. She had not gotten the historical. I don't know. She said I think she did go to the historical, get the records on it, but we assume there were plenty. I mean, this is like ancient. Okay, it's kind of like it's an ancient site. It really is.
Right.
And I think that whatever's in that cave is ancient. I think that I was concluding that I think those could be giants. Okay. I think they're just not in this dimension. I think it's giants, perhaps Sasquatch. I mean, why would Sasquatch not be ghosts too? If we got human ghosts, I don't know. It's all really weird, right?
I think a lot of these cryptids are interdimensional and cloak out and have these abilities.
Yeah. Just because we can't see them doesn't mean they're not there.
Right.
Or maybe the cave leads to a portal.
Well, I think the cave is a portal. And that's what I think all of us kind of said that as we got there. A lot of us were like, okay, so you walk in there, it's a whole other world down there, an entirely different energy. You walk through the threshold of that mouth of the cave, you go down there, and it's like 10 to 20 degrees cooler down there, first of all.
Wow.
We actually spent, it was so hot out there and so humid. We spent a lot of the day down in the cave in our camping chairs hanging out because it was so nice. It was like a refrigerator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But,
well, how many caves did you find? You said you were walking around the property. How many entrances did you find?
Yeah. Well, there's 2 right behind her house, one big one and one small one.
Wow.
And then they're all around the side of the road. There's at least 1 or 2 more when you walk down the road by our house. So who knows? Now, when we were we camped out there in her yard. Actually, we camped out in her side yard, and we actually had at least one of the guys pretty much was awake all night, and had like an overlook, was like up at the top of the mountain, and was kind of sitting up there watching over all of us to make sure we were safe. I mean, because it could have gotten, if there's really dogmen out there, and if there are Bigfoots taking the chickens, they could come up and potentially mess with us, so we had to take precautions and all that. But yeah, it made for a really interesting investigation. And I mean, when we were out in the field, we went to across the road somewhere to some of their property, and it was like old rickety houses and gigantic barns. The guys were going in and clearing the barns so we could go and make sure there weren't like Bigfoots or dogmen hiding in them. And that was fun. That was crazy. All this was just fun, everything.
Now, was there a community there, or was that just like a farming community where there was separate houses for each farm or something, or what were those other buildings associated with the property?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they're associated with the different properties. It's like one big property, but houses all around it. They have crops like soybeans and things like that out there, like huge big crops, and a lot of mountains and stuff. But they just had barn. They had a gigantic barn on their property.
Wow.
I don't even know that it was not in use. There was nobody living there in the house.
All right.
And I was like, when I first saw it, I said, "Oh my God, I'd love to live here." And then I walked over to it, and I was like, creep factor was on 100. I was like, I don't know if I could live out here with me and my son by myself. I don't think that would work for me.
No.
As brave as I am.
Now, did the mouth of the cave look natural? Like it was?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so it didn't look like a Stargate or somebody made it, or it looked like a natural opening?
It was natural, but it had like, I want to say, like, what is Farrah Collins call them? Like the condos or something. There's like two holes on the side. Like there's the main entrance, and then on the side there's like an upstairs and a downstairs holes you could go in. So it was weird. Okay, so it was natural. I mean, we actually did. I did some research on the caves in Tennessee before we went, and it was part of a bigger cave system. It's all connected. Like
the Mammoth.
Tennessee, yeah. Do what now, Carol?
Mammoth Caves?
Mammoth. It may be connected to that eventually. Yes. I don't know. It was one. I've actually been asked if I would remote view that Mammoth Caves. And you know what's weird is right after somebody asked me to do that, I was filling up a U-Haul truck tank, right? Doing some moving and stuff, and was filling up the tank. And I had not looked at the side of the U-Haul that had the state and the picture on it. It was Mammoth Cave on my U-Haul right after this person had asked me if I'd remote view that.
Synchronicity.
So, yeah. What are the odds? But yeah, we had a really good time. The place was, I mean, what I picked up, that there was definitely cryptid activity. We just didn't experience a lot of that while we were there. We heard a lot of whoops and weird noises, like weird bird noises that lasted all night, things that we're not used to hearing. But you can't say that was Bigfoot, really, or anything. It sounded like they could have been triangulating, but it also could have been birds. So yeah. But other than that, it was a great time, and we did get, like I said, the paranormal stuff, and we're planning another trip, so we're going to go back out there. The weather's not so hot. Yeah, we're going to go back. So,
well, does she have any paranormal activity in the house inside?
She has now.
She has now. Okay. So what's going on in the house?
Yeah. Well, I'm not an advocate for using our ghost equipment inside my house. I don't ever do that because I know I don't want to like bring anything in. And I think Farrah had the REM pod on or something, and it was going off a lot and stuff. So, but I don't think it's anything too major. But it was just that. So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. She's taking precautions. Let's just put it that way. To try to keep it at a minimum and keep it in the cave.
Yeah.
The cave, right.
Was there any markings or anything on the walls of the caves that, like, I'm not necessarily hieroglyphs, but any kind of structures or any kind of markings at all?
We looked. We actually did look. There was one place where someone had written the word coffin. Okay.
Oh,
Which
Oh,
is weird, way deep in the cave. I think that was actually in the mud, like way deep in the cave. The guys were kind of weirded out by that. There were no markings, like no hieroglyphs or petroglyphs, none of that we could find. There was a place where an animal had clawed its way up the side of the cave to get into one of the crevices up in the top. But that's pretty much all. We found some weird poop. We found some really weird
wow.
poop. And so, but you know, being in a cave, you just don't know how old all this stuff is. It's hard to use your tracking skills when you're, I mean, it's good to look for tracks, but like when it comes to like things naturally disintegrating, it's different down there. So
right.
I'm not a cave expert by any means. I don't even know caves at all. So, but I did recognize that everything's different down there as far as, you know, using your tracking skills and stuff, and dating things.
Well, how
So,
far back
yeah,
did you guys go?
I don't know.
Did some of the guys get brave and go way back in?
Oh yeah. Oh, they crawled all through that thing. They got up in every little crevice and nook and cranny they could
Wow.
find. They sure
So
did.
how far in
They're
did they
brave.
go?
I have no idea. It was really deep. Yeah, they were
I thought
they were
maybe you
in there like
guys,
swimwear.
I thought maybe you guys just guessed or knew about how deep the cave was.
Well, you know, before Farrah moved there with her husband, the local college or is it Tennessee, University of Tennessee or somebody, one of the colleges there had been using that. They'd been studying inside the cave. Okay. They had been doing, like, geologists had been going in there from the college and doing stuff. They actually, I think the guy said that there were parts of it. I think Zook told me that some of the holes were concreted over.
Oh,
was
wow.
weird.
Oh, ew.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did pick up on an underground facility there. So maybe it was going down to the underground facility and they had to plug it. I mean, I don't know. I'm just
Maybe.
speculating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Who
Well,
knows?
I hope somebody didn't use it as a tomb and put people in there and covered
Ew.
it up.
Could
Ew.
be. I
Thanks,
don't know.
Carol.
I never thought of that. Well, you know, the voices that came through the EVP recorder or she had one of those devices that like words come out of it, you know, like full words and names. And it said, she killed us. We're buried here.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to
Wow.
ask you if you guys used an obelisk or a spirit talker or anything like that.
Yeah. It was some kind of spirit talker thing. It was an app
Okay.
she had on her phone. Yeah. So, like I said, we didn't get a lot of cryptid activity, but we got a good bit of paranormal and spirits.
Cool.
Now, did
Yeah.
you guys
Really
find
cool.
any crystal deposits, or did the geologists say anything about
Ooh.
crystal deposits in the cave?
No, I didn't
Oh.
hear anything about that, about the crystals, but I got to tell you, when we went over on Saturday, we went over to another location where they had this gigantic barn and that creepy old house that was beautiful though. But we were walking around, there's another cave over there. Okay. There's caves everywhere. And so some of us went over there to check the cave out. Well, I got distracted because I love crystals. Okay.
Same
And
here.
I love crystals, and I always pick up quartz everywhere I go in all my investigations. And I didn't see a ton of quartz out there like I usually do, but there were a lot of geodes out there, a lot of round geodes, and on the porch of that house there were where people had found gigantic geodes and cracked them open, and there were crystals inside of them.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so y'all know I was out there looking for those. I was like, y'all go deal with that cave. I'm gonna be right here. So. But while I was down there looking for geodes, and I did find one or two, by the way, little ones, Zook, one of the guys, he found an Indian arrowhead right beside one of the geodes I found.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yes, it would. Okay, Val, that's a good question. Using a type of microphone to get noises from under her property. Yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened to her and her husband is that at night they'd be laying in bed and their bed would start vibrating and shaking like an industrial, like a train was running under their house. And so that was a lot of what was going on with her house. Not only was it getting slapped, but at night sometimes it was like it sounds like a railroad train, like the da-dum, 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 da-dum. And it had like a beat to it almost, you know.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
So I know they have underground radar, but I don't know about a cave system if it would really be able to penetrate that, the walls and stuff of the cave. Maybe it would.
Maybe.
Hmm.
I don't know. I have a cave specialist on my team, and he said he might be coming up there with me next time. So
Oh,
I'm
good.
gonna bring my friend Craig. Maybe he can come up there with me, and he and Bruce can. They're really good at checking stuff out like that. Yeah.
Pine
Pine
Gap.
Gap.
Where's
Ooh,
Pine Gap?
I don't know. Is that in Australia?
Oh, it must
I
be
don't
in
know. I'll look that up.
Australia.
Pine Gap.
Ooh, yeah,
Underground
write that down.
dumps. Yeah. I'll just give it. I'll put it on the list for Barry. Okay, my friend Barry
Yeah.
Littleton. We have lists that go on for miles. I tell you, of these targets, and they're so good. He's actually going to give me some more, hopefully, for this next week for my show. So we'll see.
Speaking of Barry,
I'll add that one to the list. Aussie or Sue. I always call you Aussie. Aussie. Sorry.
Speaking of Barry, I love when Barry comes on your shows. He's just so funny and lively, and you guys just interact so well.
Yeah.
I think that's what made the show nice about Tony Rodriguez last night is that Barry and you were able to, and you guys became friends anyway because of the conference.
Oh yeah. I love both of them. Barry and Tony are two of my faves for sure, and we really have a good chemistry and a good connection and good information to like bring it all together. You know, Tony was out. He did the 20 and back with the secret space program. Was put into he was kidnapped as a child, put into slavery, had to go work on the moon for a while and built stars. You guys, he's got a book that just came out called Project Star Maker. Amazing guy, Tony Rodriguez. And Barry Littleton, he's got the ET experience. We've all got ET experience, all of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, Barry's just a wealth of knowledge on everything, and I appreciate him and love him very much. And I got my cryptid stuff going on, so it makes for good discussions together. So thank y'all.
We'll have to invite Barry on our show, and we don't really know Tony or anything, so I don't know. It'd be nice to have him too, but
that'd be nice.
We'll have to send him a message somehow and see if we can't get him to come on.
Yeah. Hey, I'll hit him up if you want me to.
Okay, that'd be nice. Yeah, definitely Barry. We just love Barry to death too, just like you. You guys are fantastic, and
thank you very much. That means a lot to me, and I get a lot of compliments when I bring Barry on because I know people really enjoy watching him and watching us together. Actually, they love him, but they really like the chemistry that we bring together to the table, and because he and I just genuinely want to help people and really want to put the information out. We're not in it to make money. Okay. We're obviously not, not to say it wouldn't be nice one day, you know what I'm saying? But we're not in it for that. We're in it because we love what we do and we are researchers and, we just put it out there for the goodness of the betterment of the whole and for humanity. And so that's what makes it so pure and authentic, cause we're actually friends, he and I too. So I think that's what people are enjoying right now is just stuff that's real, the real deal, the real information and, the field research combined with even remote viewing. I know not everybody's on board with the remote viewing stuff. I don't know why not. I don't get that. But it's something that I've been trained in for a long time. And why not use that as a tool for research?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where all this is headed. It's the remote viewing, the astral traveling. It's learning to raise your vibrational frequency. It's not witchcraft and stuff.
Right.
This is real stuff. Our governments all utilize these things. Okay. And people all over the world and outside of our world, everybody's doing it. Hop on board, y'all. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how I see it is our body, we're using equipment, we're using apps, we are using, paranormal equipment, but our own bodies is probably more of a better instrument tool, but you have to learn how to do it, train yourself, to have the listening ears and the remote view and to go with your gut feelings and feel the energy around you. So
Absolutely.
yeah, just raise your vibration. The higher we get, the more we open up to all this.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. And I always say that on my shows. I tell my audience, you know, my team has a lot of experience with cryptids. Okay. And I don't mean like we're just out there researching them and communicating with them. I mean, like we experience them all the time when we're out there. And it's not every single time, but there's usually something that happens when we're out there with something. Okay. Something with something. Okay.
Right.
And it even when we don't expect anything to happen, something usually happens when we're out there. And I believe personally it's because all of us are very much on a higher frequency when we're out there. We have been trained to control our minds. Okay. And that's part of the remote viewing training that we've done for so long. And so we're also inoculated. I call it inoculated to all that high strangeness out there. So we're used to it. Okay. So we don't freak out. We keep a calm mind. But oh yes, author Graham Phillips. I will totally look that up. Hey Dennis. Oh my gosh, Dennis is in here. Hey Dennis. I will.
And he's
I'll look
on
him
Twitch.
up for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, Dennis is on Twitch. Hi, Dennis.
Oh, cool. Hey, I need to get on
Awesome.
Twitch too, y'all. I need to get on Twitch too. I'm not on that yet. But okay, so I think that our team has a lot of that because when you tap into your psychic abilities, okay, you get into your psychic abilities and you get in tune with that, you start lighting up everything around you. You put off a different frequency. Okay, it's when you get out of your, let's say you get out of your ego. Okay, you let that go. You raise your vibration. Become one with nature. Okay, whatever you want, whatever you need to do. Meditate, just to calm your mind, to get all that noise out of your head, and just be somebody with pure intentions. Okay, pure intentions.
Right.
You're going to attract activity. ETs, whatever. And it's not bad. I don't think a lot of this is bad. I think it's a good thing because you're lit up like a bright light, like a beacon of light. And the things get curious about you because they can see you. Okay.
Right.
And then you can see them.
Here's the other aspect of raising your consciousness, just like the high priests in the temples, you know, they had to be on a certain level to be able to activate the things that they need to get done in the temple. So I'm wondering if it's the same thing with ETs. People have talked about that they have to be on a certain dimension or a consciousness to make the ship respond to their body and be able to do what the ship does.
Wow. Absolutely. That's okay. That's so interesting because Daryl James was another one of my buddies that came on my show. He spent time in the secret space program as well. He was in the U.S. Navy, and he was telling us about ships that had consciousness in them. They were of human consciousness, and they would because we were talking about cloning and all that stuff. And I know it's just, you can go down these rabbit holes. I mean, there's so much weird stuff going on all around us. But some people would volunteer to put their consciousness in these crafts. That's why they call it the mothership. It's usually a woman. Okay.
Yep.
A woman's consciousness. That's what I think I remember him saying that. Pretty sure. That's why they call it the mothership. And you could talk to her and all that stuff. So Barry's talked about it. A lot of these ships and a lot of things in the future, or what the future is now. So whatever they got going on out there, there's consciousness transfers and things like that are going into inanimate objects, basically, or animate objects. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what they are.
Well, just think of the movie Avatar, where they connected to the tree to connect with the earth and all this, all the essence of Mother Earth or Gaia, however you want to say it. So, I mean, maybe that was a soft disclosure on what we need to do also.
Absolutely. I think about that movie all the time now. It comes up when I think about like the secret space program and how you got to wonder, like some of these programs, it seems as though like maybe they're showing us what they were doing there with the secret space program, things like that in those movies and making it into a cartoon. So it's easily packaged for the consumers.
Hi, William. We are saying hi to William also.
I'm doing horrible at chat tonight.
He feels left out.
I'm not doing very good at chat. Sorry, everybody. But William, Jessica did mention you in one of her stories, so maybe you weren't paying attention.
Yeah,
Do
Sunday
what?
nights we don't pay attention to chat. Sorry, guys. Hi, William.
Hey, William. Oh, oh my gosh. William's awesome. We got the whole crew's here tonight. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole crew's here.
Whole crew's
Wow.
here.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So what are you looking to get into next, Jessica? I mean, you said you're going to go back to Tennessee, but is there anything else coming up that you're going to be doing?
Man,
Any investigations?
I have a lot of stuff coming up, actually. I do. And I can't give it all away right now, but
Okay.
there's something in particular, it may have something to do with like the Montauk project and stuff like that. So working with some of the secret space program guys and stuff. So we'll see about that. But yeah, of course, I've always got, investigations and research weekends and weeks with my team and things like that. So yeah, I try not to like make announcements like when my team, like going out with my team, because I'd rather not make that public and things like that, because people are strange and they'll
you got to keep that private.
I don't know, call me paranoid. Yeah. So
yeah,
but yeah, we have a lot
the
of
Philadelphia experiment. I remember listening to Art Bell with that big long conversation with Bielik.
Ooh. Oh,
The guy that said he was actually on to Philadelphia.
Yes. Okay. So from what I understand, it's like the 60th anniversary of that coming up this year. And there's some place around New York or something where it could potentially reappear. The USS Eldridge. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Huntress might just be there. I don't know. We'll find out. So it should be interesting. Yeah, it should be very interesting. That's a really interesting case though, right? Where they were trying to basically make a ship invisible. And what they ended up doing was it disappeared, and then when it reappeared, the men on the ship were melded into the ship.
Yeah.
Their bodies were part of it.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And then him and his brother dove over the ship, so that's how they were saved. It wasn't part of the ship, and they time traveled.
Whoa.
Oh.
Okay. That's wild.
I didn't know about that part. Wow.
Of course, they also said at the time when the men got melded into the ship, the whole ship also time traveled at the same time. But when they came back, that's how they got trapped into the ship.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So it's a big old rabbit hole to go down.
Oh yeah. Somebody just didn't turn the knob all the way or something. I don't know what happened on that one.
Or they didn't think that through very well, evidently. I don't know.
I know. So I was like, hold my beer. I don't know. Something's not right here. But it's really, I mean, but doesn't our government deny that ever happened? I mean, I don't know.
Probably.
It's one of those classified projects. Yeah.
They deny everything.
Supposedly they either blew up or sunk the ship when they took it out of service just to try to get rid of the story. But so who knows? Maybe the Eldridge will be a ghost ship. Let alone the time travel and dimensional part of it.
Well, I mean, imagine if they have that ship put somewhere like in a secret hangar somewhere today, and there's
Smithsonian.
The Smithsonian, under the Smithsonian.
Yeah,
that's a big museum now at this point with all the giants and the USS Eldridge and all that. Yeah, crazy stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of ships, I heard the other day that somebody gave out a theory that the owner that had the Titanic, actually the Titanic wasn't really the Titanic. It was a sister ship. It was the one that sank. That's what they were trying to say, that they
I've heard that before. I've heard that actually. Now, is it just we switch timelines and that's the Mandela effect now? I don't know.
That could be.
I was wondering that.
Question everything. That's all I know. Just question. The things that I remember being one thing are not what they are today. A lot of stuff, and our timelines are being manipulated so bad, and they have been. I keep being told that we are on a corrupted timeline right now. like a corrupted timeline, like so crazy. I'm sorry if my computer's freezing up, y'all. I don't know if
That's
it is or
okay.
not.
Well, it could be ours too.
I've been
I
told
think
that
we're glitching out once in a while too.
No, it's mine.
Yeah.
It's mine. It's totally. There's a glitch in the matrix. That's me. And so,
Yeah.
but I've been told that we're on a corrupted timeline, and the history as we know it was actually completely different. And somebody went and messed with things and put us on the wrong timeline, and it wasn't for the highest of all good. And I think maybe we're. I don't know how it's going to switch. I think it's just we create our own realities, in my opinion.
Right.
And I think that as long as we think positively and want to get on the highest timeline that we can, I think that it'll happen. I think that's where we're going. I'm working on it. I hope y'all are too.
There's just so
Going
many
back to
theories out there.
Going back to the Earth, going dimensional and trying to go to the fourth and fifth dimension, maybe CERN and all the stuff that man has done to corrupt our timeline, maybe Mother Earth is trying to get us back on track to a different, to the right timeline.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. I think there's a lot of people working on it without even knowing that we're a lot of us are here, and we're just here for the ride. Okay. But some people, I feel like some people's energies, like some people are here just to have their energy, like holding down, bringing light codes in or something, just here just to be, during this time, because it's so important. It's all about energy. It's all about frequency, and it's all about vibration. And
then I heard the other day,
and a lot of it's needed right now.
When you start talking to people, they said the first question you need to ask them is, where's your heart at in your body? Because when I was growing up, it wasn't in the center of our chest. So my timeline says that my heart is offset from the center of my chest. We always put our hand over our heart when we did the Pledge of Allegiance. But people today are saying that the heart is actually in the middle of their body, behind their big bone, their sternum.
Whoa. Okay. I don't remember. I mean, I always put my hand over my heart, but yeah, your heart is always right here. It's not here. Interesting.
Right. The heart. Yeah. The heart's over just a little bit. So one of the theories is, did CERN actually do something and destroy our reality or our timeline, and we suddenly went over to our parallel world, and that's why we're having mandala effects and everything so different.
Oh yeah.
So that could be too. I mean, yeah. We don't really know. Nobody's an expert, but there's so many what ifs and possibilities out there.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but we do know things have changed. It's obvious that things have changed.
Yes, things have changed. Absolutely. I mean, even like song lyrics and book names and titles,
movies, all kinds of things.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like, who is flipping that switch? Who's flipping the switch, y'all?
Well, like when you were talking about the history being gone, the history being different. Just like Tartaria, we are really big into Tartaria.
Oh yeah.
The structures and the giant doors, giant books. Why are they hiding that from us? Is it just because of the free energy? But I mean, there's so much proof out there that there was buildings underneath buildings, and Tartaria was here.
Yes. The giants. I mean, why have the giants been erased out of our history?
Right.
That's all I want to know. It's not all I want to know.
When I was a kid, I remember Jiffy peanut butter. There was Skippy and there was Jiffy. It was not Jif. Right there, I will tell you. I remember it was a Jiffy peanut butter. So that was definitely one that changed.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of those. I actually did a show on Mandela Effect, and I could not get over that Chick-fil-A spelling.
Yeah.
I talked about that so much. It was like, I remember it. And that's how we can gauge who was on which timeline, in my opinion.
Seems like it.
Because those of us that remembered it, CHIK fillet, that's me. That's group number 1. Okay. And then we got chick, CHIC fillet. That's group number 2. And then we got group number 3 was CHICK fillet. So pick and I don't think there was any other spellings. There was 3 spellings that people remember. But if you go back now and look at the history, it's all CHICK from the very beginning, day 1.
Right. Yeah. And J.C. Penney's is another one. Oscar Myers is another one.
J.C. Penney.
Yeah, J.C. Penney. It was
Penny's
with an
spelled
E.
different.
Yeah,
Pennies with an S.
Penny was spelled different. Yeah.
Pennies. It seems like my grandmother, my nanny used to call it pennies. Pennies, but I don't know. Some people call Walmart Walmarts. So
Walmart's. Yeah.
And that might be
That's-
just a cultural thing, you know,
it's a
depending on where
Southern
you're
thing.
at.
Walmart.
Walmarts. We're
Go
going
to
to Walmarts.
Walmart.
Yeah,
Walmart's.
totally.
So yeah, there's so many Mandela effects now. I mean, it's hard to keep up with them.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, movie quotes and like, I don't know it. And the normal person doesn't even pay attention to it. And then if you point something out, there's like a million people that be like, that's not real. It was always the first way. You know, it was always this way. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just us that's switching into their reality. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's been like that for them forever. Who's to say that we haven't gone into their timeline where we were at a different timeline? And, you know, I don't know if that makes sense.
Well,
Yeah,
we
but I
could
mean,
have had
so for us to go into a different timeline, you know, like our books are, like you said, our books are changing. Well, it's a Bible verse or movie titles or, you know, sayings in a movie. You know, it's so weird that just like Tony Rodriguez, we remember the old way and we remember, you know, so this doesn't make sense how you go to a different dimension or timeline, but you still have memories of all this other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I had the pleasure of watching Tony give a presentation in person, and he had some really amazing pictures and graphics and things. And actually the graph of his life timeline, his actual life's timeline, it goes like this. It goes up and then it goes up, over, back down, and then goes back again. So like the visual was really cool because it shows like he was taken when he was 10 years old. He was put into a program, lived 20 years in this program. So he was 30 years old when they put him back into that timeline as a little boy again at 10 years old. And he woke up the next day after he had been taken 20 years ago.
And then had to live another 20 years. Yep.
Yeah. Well, he's 50 now. So he's actually 70. Yeah.
Wow.
Weird, right? He's a good looking 70-year-old, I tell you. Yeah.
Tony was the very first one that I saw of an SSP whistleblower, and I was blown away. I mean, it was on Journey to Truth, and I've seen part 1 and part 2. I've watched it several different times, and it's almost 3 years ago, I think they were doing this. Yeah. He was the first one. I was just like mind blown, and then it was the other ones, you know, and then they interviewed more, and James Rink and Johann Fritz, and, you know, Tony, I mean, you have to believe his story. He is so honest, and you know how he spits it out and remembers everything. It's genuine, and your heart just breaks for him. You know, just his experience was absolutely amazing.
They are. It's, you know, and he doesn't like talking about the traumatic part. So I knew that, and I didn't ask him any of that last night because he was on my show last night at Spaced Out Radio. Yeah. And I did not, I purposely did, I did not ask him about any of the really traumatic stuff. Yeah. Especially, you know, he actually suffered a lot of abuse, a lot of trauma during that time.
Now, did he ever say that while he was gone for the 20 years on the secret space program, did he know what was going on Earth at that time also?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because when he came back to his 10-year-old self, he didn't remember. Played the stock market, should have invented Apple, should have been able, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but his memory got wiped though. When he came back,
yeah, I know, but he started having, that's true. He didn't have his full memory right when he came back.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I asked him how he regained all of his memories. Like, how'd you get your memories back? And he said just one day, I guess like pieces started coming together, and he thought, I don't know, I don't remember exactly, I don't want to misquote him, but he said it came back, it was kind of gradual, then one day it was kind of like boom, like certain triggers would, you know, things would trigger him to remember what he had gone through. So
yeah, he kind of mentioned that last night on your show.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for watching. He actually said that he had been modified, like genetically, okay, at some point when he was building, I think it was when he was building the stars. It was either on the moon or on the stars, where they had genetically changed him a little bit to where he was like, he didn't have the vibrancy as a normal human would. Okay. They made him into a worker. Like all he wanted to do was, like he said, it was like no libido or anything like that. It was just like you go and you work and then you come back and you play video games. It was like the mind of a teenager kind of, but like zero energy to do stuff. I mean, it was just there to work, and that was it. And they were able to do that to him somehow and modify him and all the other guys that were out there.
You know,
So,
speaking of DNA,
yeah.
I've been thinking of a new rabbit hole to go down, and I just came up with this. I don't know, so maybe somebody else said it and I heard it, but you know, they say there's a certain percentage or chain that's alien or ET DNA in our system. Well, what if that's really the main chain and they created or something made the human off of that DNA of the alien? It's not that they injected alien DNA in us. What if that was our baseline, then our human DNA grew out of that?
You heard it here first on Midwest Night Watchers, y'all. That's I resonate with that. Yeah, I totally resonate.
I do too. Wow.
Wow. You might have just hit gold on that one. You better copyright that idea and go with it.
Well, that makes sense. You know, the reptilians, if they've been here for a long, long, long time, way before man's race, that would make sense. You know, God came down. You know, they might have had their own beings and humans and who knows what was down here, but God came down and created his race, and we got blended in from the ET race. That's a good thought, girl. Wow. Very good. Yeah.
I don't know how you'd ever prove it.
You can't.
Somebody already knows. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure they know. Whoever they are.
Yeah.
We'll find out when they eventually decide to tell us.
I know. I don't know. There's so much hidden from us, so much. But maybe that's part of us raising the vibration and the consciousness. And our consciousness is, you know, each of us. And we're only responsible for us, for each of us.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm responsible for me. You guys are responsible for yourselves. We're all responsible for ourselves. But by us doing that, it encourages other people to do it as well. And they're naturally going to raise theirs when yours is high. You're like a tuning fork everywhere you go and around all the people that you're around. So, yeah, I keep my circle kind of tight these days. You know, I'm not out doing a whole lot around unless I'm out in the woods, right? Unless I'm out in the woods. But yeah, it's important to raise your vibration, and then it helps other people too. And maybe that's what we need, where we do start getting disclosure and things like that. I mean, I think that we are the disclosure when it comes to ETs and the cryptids and all that stuff. I think it's people like us, like you guys are out there looking through your telescopes and watching the skies and doing your Midwest night watching, you know, and I'm doing the Bigfooting. You know, we're out here. Carol gets the gold star for the day. That's right. Girl, you get the gold star. You get the 100 on your paper today.
Now wait.
All right.
Jessica and I don't get a gold star.
Uh-oh. Now we started something.
Only you?
Well,
I think Jessica and I deserve one too. Wow.
Well, you know what? There can only be one winner, though. There's only one winner today. We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you.
I would kindly share my gold star with both of you.
Oh, thank you.
That's sweet. I'll take it.
You know, speaking of raising our vibrations, you know, as we're raising our vibrations, going to a higher consciousness, maybe that's why we lose friends. Maybe they're not raising their vibration and keeping up with us.
I've got that.
100%.
I've lost a lot of friends the last several years, and I think they're down lower and you don't resonate with them anymore. And you find other friends that are around your level. I agree with that.
Your vibe attracts your tribe, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, you know, I know that a lot of us went through that phase over the past couple of years where we were trying to wake up our friends. Okay. It's like, we're going to try to wake you up. And this is what's really going on in the world, you know, and and people either chose to, you know, look into it themselves, or you got shunned and called the crazy person. Okay.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it just naturally, my friend Frank Jacob, he calls it a tale of two timelines. Okay.
Mhm.
And
Oh, wow.
yeah, he's a filmmaker he lives in Germany, and amazing guy. I did a show with him on Spaced Out Radio last year. It's been a year since I saw him.
Oh, my.
But this was in the middle of like a huge split in our timelines that I had him on. And actually I had him on the night before CERN was about to be turned back on too. And we were talking about CERN and time travel and time manipulation, all this time stuff, because it's so prevalent in all I do right now. But yeah, the time manipulation, man, that's something else. But yeah, the timeline has split. I think it's already split.
Mhm.
And there are people who don't hear us anymore. Okay.
Yep.
There are people who have just kind of disappeared. Okay. We've disappeared. They've disappeared.
Yeah.
And they're still there. We're still there. We're just living in different realities right now. And so expect more of that. I think
Oh, yeah.
that's where we're at right now.
It's been happening for the last few years. We are slowly having a division and a split. You know, the Bible talks about the wheats and tares, the sheeps and goats. I mean, it is a division. Some are going to be on one timeline, some are going to be on the other. I think Mother Earth is going up, but it makes me wonder, like, is there still going to be a 3D Earth? Those people are down here. We go up to, you know, with the new Mother. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, something is some big event. All cultures talk about it. You know, Native American Indians talk about it. I mean, all cultures talk about this big event. So we'll find out.
We're here for the show right now. And what Dolores Cannon said, I keep going back. This is the second time I've gone back to Dolores Cannon. She said that we're at the greatest show on Earth right now in the universe. The greatest show in the universe is happening right now on this planet. And it's something that has never happened before anywhere that she knows of, where the Earth is actually shifting dimensions.
Yeah.
And there are people placed all around the globe right now to assist, to raise the vibration up and to help with the split. It's a real thing. It's a real split. I believe it in my soul. And I think that's part of what this is. Yeah, and that's why a lot of us, we have empathy, and we want to. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay. My computer's lagging probably. But it's a lot of us. Well, we're human, right? Most of us are human. Now, I'm not going to say everybody. I watch y'all show, Gerald. I know not everybody's human. I know Dennis talks about that.
Aliens are among us.
There are. But right now, I'm a human, as far as I know, and I have a lot of empathy, and I want everybody to come with me, right? I want everybody to be where I am. Okay. And it's just the sad reality. Everybody has free will. And so we can't make people do what we're doing, you know, and it's not our job to. So it can be a little sad when you don't feel like you got the same friends and your family is all split up. And I mean, even when I think that like I've split and I've gone into a new timeline, it's like I get another subsection of another timeline split now.
Yeah.
Like splitting away from those people that I thought were on my path. Now I got a whole new split, you know, and it's cutting the wheat from the chaff.
I don't know if you brought this up yet or not, but if the Earth is changing into the fourth and fifth dimension, you know, and we're all raising our vibrations, maybe that's what's attracting all the extraterrestrial and all the cryptid activity coming in, because they want to experience this event too. And maybe that'll raise them even to a higher consciousness if they're here at the time that this happens.
Yeah, maybe they're a part of this event also, not just humans. We're all going to raise and change.
Oh, we're all a part of it.
Yeah.
Yes,
interesting.
We're all part of it. And yeah. I do believe that they're all a part of it too. All the cryptids. I just had a conversation with my buddy Nick Sylvester about that. He and I were talking. He was talking about how the cryptids, the dogmen, the Bigfoots, they all play a part in this awakening. Okay, and I 100% stand by that. I believe that. I resonate with it. Now I go by, do I resonate with it? Okay. Like that's how I'm like making decisions. And like, if something resonates with me, I know that's real. Like that's my truth, you know, if I resonate. So yeah. And yeah, just that's why I like sharing all my experiences and stuff with people with cryptids.
So Val wants to know,
Open
I
everybody
think
up
that's
to
a
it.
question, how to raise their vibration. Or Wendy asked that question.
Yeah.
I guess I heard it
Oh.
wrong.
To rate. Okay, first of all, it's called shadow work. Okay, that's shadow work. That's the first step in raising your vibration, and it makes you feel like crap. Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
You're gonna feel worse before you feel better. All right, but I highly recommend what I did. I've been through several dark nights of the soul. Okay, and the most recent one that I went through, I literally had to separate myself from a lot of people and journaled. I got my journals everywhere, and you start writing, and you deal with the traumas that you have not dealt with before from childhood.
Mhm.
Okay, start with that. Start with all your relationships that you have with people and the issues, and it just starts getting it out there. Write it with a pen and a paper. Don't. You can type too, but it helps with your subconscious to get things out. If you take a pen and some paper and get a journaling book and write it all out, write it in cursive if you can too. It's part of getting it all out of your head. So I would start with that, but going for walks in nature, connecting with nature, finding quiet time for yourself every day, waking up early and reading a book, meditating, do whatever you can. Do things that make you happy. That's number one. Do things that make you happy, and just find some peace in your life. And Lord knows, as soon as you find that peace and you're feeling good, there's
Yep.
going to be things that test you. Okay, and but you're way better equipped to deal with it once you're healed.
Yep.
And your
Yeah,
vibration.
the grounding part is really important. Take your
Mhm.
shoes and socks off, get out in the nature. And I make fun of Jane all the time for being a hillbilly, but I really do. I really do believe in grounding.
Mhm.
Yeah, me
So
too.
get out there and experience. I mean, it's something where that energy comes through the bottoms of your feet into your soul. So
Yeah.
you got to connect with earth. Then you also have to love yourself. You got to connect with
Yes.
your inner self. You got to love yourself first before you can do
Yeah.
anything.
That's right. I mean, a lot of I look back and in a lot of relationships, I haven't been in a lot of relationship like romantic thing. I don't mean like that, but like relationships with people, it's either me even at the time or the other person. The things didn't work out because one of us just didn't love ourselves. And you need
Yeah.
to be able to love yourself to know how to love other people and to be able to love other people. I mean, that's important too because it's all about love in the end. We're just
Right.
love is the highest vibration. So strive for
Yep.
love. Love
Mhm.
yourself 100%. Love yourself
And learn
first.
to forgive others, which is often hard to
Forgive.
do. But yeah, you need to
Yeah.
forgive others. I
Yes.
still say, if you have any kind of, bitter feelings for anyone, you need to forgive, or that is like a splinter in your hand that's just gonna fester and get pussy and still sore.
Yeah.
You got to let things go. Everyone's gone through hurt of split families, friends that you really thought you were best
Yeah.
friends. I mean, Carol and I've gone through that so much. Then you got to find a new community or new friends.
Yeah.
Then we were just us for quite a few years until YouTube kind of happened. We started getting to know people.
Yeah.
Now we got new friends again. But some people, like you said, they're on a different level. They change or you change. And just don't take it personal and be a people pleaser. Like, oh my gosh, they don't like me anymore. I'm going to change so they can like me. Don't do that. You stay on your path.
Don't ever do that.
And yeah, if they go, some people are just here for seasons, and people do come and go. So you just don't take it personal. Just focus on your own self and keep on going. Like I told,
Yeah.
just like I
There's a
told others,
season for everything.
yeah,
And everybody's on their own journey and everybody's on their own timeline, and they'll get there eventually, or maybe they won't. I don't know, but
right.
you got to progress at your timeline, and they got to progress in their timeline and get to their consciousness level that they need to be at. And we got to do the same for ourselves. And you can't do that if you don't love yourself. You can't project love out into the universe if you don't love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
and you got to
right.
forgive yourself. That's one thing.
Yes.
It's not just forgiving others. You got to forgive yourself for the mistakes and things that you've made. As a child, we've all made mistakes, but have you learned from it, or are you still worried about it and think about it? Or Sometimes you just, let things go and just keep on moving on. Like, okay, I did a stupid thing. Oh, well, I learned from it. Move on.
Yeah. Let it go, let it flow. And you don't want to hold on to resentment with people. It causes bad wrinkles and it makes your hair fall out and get gray hair. Okay, y'all.
I was wondering what my
Ask me how I
problem
know.
was.
Ask me how I know. Okay.
Same here. I mean, we've had some friends, we went to church, several churches. Everyone knows that we don't go to a church building anymore. We've probably been hurt worse by church people. And I lost my train of thought. I really lost my train of thought. Once you see that they've changed and you're realizing like, I really don't like that personality and I really don't like that in them. I don't want them as a friend anyway. And you're better off. If that makes any sense. That's what I was trying to get to, that some people just
makes
change.
Total sense.
And then, they'll go to other people and say, oh, yeah, they did this. Oh, the church people, that's the worst. Like, oh, everybody's just telling you like everyone else did it. They turn against you. And then there's a split in the church. And so then you realize, you know what? I don't want those kind of people in my life anyway. I'm better off not being friends with them anymore. Move on. God will bring you new friends that are in your level.
Yes.
Amen. I'm done preaching.
Amen. Amen. Hallelujah. I totally resonate with everything you just said. 100%. Yes. Yeah. Don't harbor resentment and stuff for people.
Right.
That's the best advice. Just don't. Everybody gets their karma. Don't worry about if somebody did you wrong.
Right. They were in your life for a reason. I do believe that they were in your life for a reason, either for a lesson or just learning things. And sometimes things just don't work out and you just move on.
That's right. Yeah. Keep your vibe high. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody.
That was for somebody out there in chat. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Somebody needed to hear that.
Yeah. Somebody needed to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. It's good advice.
So I've got a question. What is the youngest of your age that you felt like you had abilities or your first paranormal experience or anything like that?
Well, I didn't realize that I didn't know that I had like psychic abilities or anything. That was kind of one of those things that if somebody said they were a psychic, you're like, oh, whatever, psychic. But I come from a long line of women in my family that have psychic abilities. And I should have known I could never get away with anything around my mother. Okay. And that's part of
my
it.
Kids.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I was seeing ghosts when I was a kid. I remember being in this old house. I was doing some volunteer work at the it was like a women's shelter or something. And it was this old house. And I was supposed to be answering phones that day. Okay. Up in the office. And I got bored. I'm not gonna lie. I got really bored. And I started opening up doors and kind of exploring because it was an old house and it had like a lot of weird little rooms and stuff. And I remember opening up one door, and I don't know if I've ever told the story publicly before. Oh. I opened up this one door, and it went. I can't remember, did it go upstairs or I think it went downstairs actually. So it was like downstairs, and then the staircase was super steep because it was like a secret stairway. It wasn't a regular stairway, and it was a tiny little door that you could open like a half a door. And the staircase went straight down, and then it turned to the side. It did a 90-degree turn, and it went down at an angle. And I opened up the door, and the first thing I saw were the steps because I was just kind of confused, like, whoa, those steps are steep. And then I looked up, and floating in the middle of where the stairs did the turn, there was a white orb about this big. It was a ball of light, and it had ribbons coming off of it, and it was just floating like an octopus. Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow.
That was my first, what I consider to be like a real ghost, I guess. Cause I didn't know what else to call. I was a little scared. I actually shut the door slowly and I backed up and I left. I left the building that day. Because that was just odd. I had never seen anything like that before. But it was there, it was floating, and I stood there long enough to get a really good look at it. So Yeah, so that I was like 16 because I was driving when that happened, but I had been having experiences before that as a kid. But that's the first ghost I remember seeing. And then as I became a young lady and I was living, like going to college or living on my own, I would wake up and there'd be people standing or sitting by my bed. And
Oh,
and
okay.
then after I started doing all this Bigfoot stuff back in 2011, I think is when I started. We started having ET experiences, and then I started having ETs in my home, and they were standing around my bed just like those ghosts had been doing when I was younger. And so it made me question, were those actual ETs back when I was a kid?
Right.
And they weren't
Screen
actually
memories.
ghosts. Yeah.
Screen
Oh,
memories.
okay.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's confusing. But yeah, that's just what I experienced. And I do think that could have been ETs or something when I was a kid. But yeah, I didn't even know about, I never heard of remote viewing before until I was taught it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and that was in 2011 or so. And
Yeah. So you've been doing remote viewing for a long time.
Now,
Yeah,
is that
12
something
years?
is that something you pursued yourself, or did somebody bring you into it? Remote viewing?
No, I didn't go looking for it. I didn't know what it was. I never heard of it. I was just on a Bigfoot research team, and we were out there having so much weird stuff happening out in the field that the head of my team was a remote viewer, and one of the other guys on our team was a remote viewer, and he just decided, we were getting too much ET involvement. Let's just put it that way. We're getting way more ET involvement, I think, that we were expecting out in the field, and so it was kind of meant to be. It's all about mind control, kind of not like me controlling your mind, but learning how to control my mind. And because sometimes when you have an ET experience, it's very traumatic. First of all, second of all, if there is a way to stop it or to not be put to sleep or whatever, I think we all would like to do that if we're out in the field researching. Maybe we could communicate with these things, through mind control or telepathy, and to learn that kind of stuff, just to try to get up on their level, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, I can't say it's worked so far, but I can say that at least we know how to do that kind of stuff, and it's good to be able to remote view an area before we go and research it, so that we know what the activity is, we know what to look for, we know locations and landmarks and stuff like that. We just kind of know like what we're dealing with before we get there and after we leave.
Now, I know you say you get words that come to you, when you remote view, and you always have a log or jot them down. But do you get pictures in your mind, or maybe video or anything?
Yeah.
Actually seeing what you're remote viewing also?
Oh, yeah. That's actually a lot of what remote viewing is. It depends on which mode you're using, because I know different modes of remote viewing. The one that I usually do is coordinate remote viewing, where I am sitting with a pen and some paper, and I graph everything out with charts and things like that, and all the information that floods in, I write it down. Yes, I hear everything from song lyrics to smelling things. I can taste stuff sometimes, and I do see things play out in my head sometimes, and I write it all down. I also, if I detect an individual in the environment, I can do a deep mind probe and talk to that person to find out what happened to them, or where are they, or just what are you doing here? Because my targets are blind. I don't know what they are. I just get a set of numbers. So that's how we roll with remote viewing. But yeah, I do see things like that.
All right.
Did Tony say last night that on his website he actually has classes on remote viewing? Is that what he was saying last night?
He does.
So he's teaching people remote viewing.
He is.
Oh,
If anybody,
interesting.
I told Tony that I would send all, because I don't teach remote viewing to the public at all. And
he'd be a good teacher.
He's a great teacher. Gosh, I bet he is. I don't know. He hadn't taught me, but I bet he'd be a great teacher. He's he has a Patreon. It's called Talks with Tony on Patreon. Yeah. So if anybody's wanting to learn remote viewing, I know somebody I saw one or two people in the chat today mention how do you learn remote viewing, and I think a great way to start would go join Tony's Patreon. And
Yeah.
yeah,
He'd be a great teacher. Yeah, he's very
Absolutely.
patient, very loving. I've never seen any meanness out of him, or to make
No.
anyone feel embarrassed or anything. He's so gentle.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be a great place to go if somebody's really interested in remote viewing.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
For sure. And I've actually sent him, Barry and I sent him a target for his team to work on that Barry had sent me. And so, yeah, it was actually Mel's Hole. That's one of my favorites.
Cool.
Mel's Hole, yeah.
That's a classic. Yeah. So it was
Wow.
that. And they got some interesting data too. So it's fun.
So I wants to know what the
That's a good
numbers
question.
correspond with. Is that like Barry just giving you numbers that he assigns to something for
Yes.
your remote view? Or how do you
Okay.
get the numbers?
They're random. Just random numbers. It doesn't matter. It can be anything. There's no rhyme or reason to those numbers. You just write some
Okay.
numbers down. But it has to be 2 sets of 4 numbers. So it's 8 numbers. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 7, 8, 9, 3 or something. And
But then
Okay.
Barry's thinking
there's
of a location or something
Right.
for you to remote view, and that's
Yes.
he puts those numbers associated with that thing, and
Yes.
you go out and remote view it.
Okay,
and
that
it's
makes
important.
sense.
It's important that he is specific in how he writes out my targets too. Okay, so he has to, if it's something very specific, I mean, it could just be a location, and maybe he'll take some of the numbers out of the coordinates of that place and put it in with the number, but it doesn't matter. They're just completely random numbers, totally random. But he'll write down the numbers and then write on the same paper like what the target is, so we know like
Okay.
this is the target for him, and then he just sends me the numbers, and then I go at it, and then usually I send him screenshots of my papers and stuff, and he's like, okay, either totally on target, or he's like, okay, I need you to look at this a little bit further because you're on target, but I need more information,
Mhm.
And so I get that a lot.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I just can see Barry sitting there thinking about targets and giggling and laughing out loud, going, Jessica's going to have fun with this one.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he does. He actually does put a lot of thought into his numbers, and he does something. It's something personal to him that he actually does have some kind of personal connection to the numbers, to the target. So that's how Barry does it.
Yeah, you guys make a good team. You just connect so well with each other. It's amazing. So you're going to have Tony on your show here pretty soon with Barry?
We talked about it last
Hopefully.
night. We all three agreed that we would do a show together anytime.
Good.
So
Good. All
Yeah,
right.
You definitely
Yeah.
need more than an hour.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I like to keep it short though, and yeah, but an hour and a half is usually good. Like that's my favorite, is doing like an hour to an hour and a half. And on my channel, I can do that, and I can go as long as I want or short as I want. But of course, when I'm on Spaced Out Radio, I have exactly 58 minutes. So it's not that went by so fast last night.
Yeah. Speaking of that, everyone check out at 9:00 Central. She is on Spaced Out Radio. And tonight you have, who is your guest?
I have Ron Murphy, the crypto guru, coming on tonight. We're talking vampires. I hope Dennis Carroll is still in the chat. Dennis, we're talking vampires tonight.
That's going to be a good show.
It'll be good. Ron is going to be speaking on vampires soon. And so he said he'd like to talk about that tonight. So that's the topic. Yeah. I have a little experience with vampires. I've remote viewed 1 or 2, and Spring Hill Jack and all that stuff. What might correlate with some of this tonight. Yeah.
Interesting.
It'll be good.
So go ahead and repeat the time when your show is, and go ahead and give out your website and your Patreon and your War Woman goods.
Thank you.
Go ahead and give them all that information before we get in the show.
Okay, so you guys can find me at thecryptidhuntress.com. All of my shows are there. Any event that I'm going to be at, whatever, pictures and all that stuff, they're all on my website. So thecryptidhuntress.com. Also, I have a really awesome YouTube channel. That's The Cryptid Huntress. You guys, please go subscribe. I know a lot of y'all in chat have already subscribed because I recognize a lot of y'all. What's up? And so I got that. And I also have a Patreon. That's the Cryptid Huntress. All of my remote viewing data is posted on there with some extras and stuff for my Thursday night shows. Where you can see all that. It's a lot of sensitive information on those papers that I don't talk about in public. So, yeah, thank y'all so much for having me. I do have a show tonight. I'm on Spaced Out Radio every Saturday and Sunday night at 9 Central, 10 Eastern PM, that is. And I have a fun show. It's all about cryptids and all the weird stuff in the world. So y'all come join me. And thanks again for having me, y'all.
Oh, no problem. We've got to have you back. Definitely.
Anytime.
Definitely. Well, maybe next time we get you will go to Tennessee again.
Oh, yeah. That's in the fall. Yeah. I'll be going.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll bring you back on in the fall and you can talk about your part 2 of your Tennessee experience. That would be great.
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Don't go anywhere. We're just going to end the show now, and we'll just talk to everybody. So everybody, please like, heart, share, subscribe to this, and do Jessica's channel, do our channel, do William Nighthawk's channel, because we're all me and William and Jane are all on the same platform, and so please get that word out and share and like all that. And then, like we said, go to Jessica's channels and show her some love. And we just want to spread this word out in the community and show love to everybody and get everybody a chance to give us their stories and what's going on with them. And I will be, me and Jane will be on Wednesday night on Night Owl Lounge at 12:30 a.m. And that'll actually be Thursday morning if you get up early or stay up late, whichever you choose to do or call it. And we'll be, that's the one where we actually pay attention to chat. Like I did very horrible tonight. And I apologize to everybody out there. If I missed any questions or any comments, I'm sorry. Wednesday night, it's all about the chat.
Yep. That is chat night. You know, and thank you everyone who is in chat. Yes, we focus on our guests and we not really ignore chat. We just don't have time, and we appreciate each and every one of you that have shown up in chat and supported all of us and support Jessica. So we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
We love you.
Share the love.
Yep. Love everyone.